The news is not here to inform. The news is here to provoke. And I was like, oh my goodness, it was a podcast guest that I had on the Prosperity Approach. Is that not the truth? Well, hello there, prosperity seeker, and welcome to another episode of the Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez. I'm always honored and so delighted that you are spending time with me today, and I really want to make it worth your while. I always want to make it worth your while, but today we're going to talk about ways that you can raise your vibration by avoiding certain things. So you want to stay tuned and listen or watch for all of that. But before we dive into that, just a couple quick reminders. If you're listening to the audio version of this episode, be sure you're following the podcast on your favorite app. And if you're watching this on YouTube right now, we'd love for you to hit the subscribe button and smash the notification bell. Like, I don't understand the whole smashing thing, but click on the notification bell as well so that you're always in the loop when we drop new episodes. So let's talk about your energy, shall we? Let's talk about your vibration. And I've shared before in previous episodes that I really think that toxic positivity is a thing. Although if you're going to be more positive, if you got the choice between being more positive or negative, of course, I want you to be positive, but positivity doesn't have enough energy behind it to actually change your life. You got to be thinking about prosperity. Like, prosperity thinking and positive thinking are two different things. Positive thinking is a natural byproduct of prosperity thinking, but prosperity thinking is not a natural byproduct of positive thinking. Prosperity thinking is a specific way of viewing, processing, and approaching life that requires skill. It requires deliberate, consistent application of spiritual and mental laws until it becomes second nature to you. So it is absolutely a skill that you have to build to be a thinker of prosperity. And in order to do that and to successfully raise your vibration, to match the vibration of the reality that you want, you've got to be fiercely protective of your own energy and also really aware of where you're vibrating at any given moment. Because we're all energy and we are all emitting a frequency all the time, whether we're aware of it or not. And the law of attraction just brings to us the physical counterpart of whatever dominant vibration we're in all the time. So if you want to raise your vibration from lack and scarcity and irritation and victimhood to expansion and wealth and prosperity and abundance and great relationships and all of those things, there are very specific things that you do, which has nothing to do with positive thinking and everything to do with building new neural pathways in your brain and making those neural connections and growing your prosperity muscle. So I want to talk about 5 things for you to avoid in order to help raise your vibration. We're all about, okay, what can I do? What can I do? All right, morning meditation. All right, check. We'll do that. All right, what else do we need to do? Eat good. Okay, well, I'll try. Check. So what are some things that we can avoid? The top 5 things to avoid is surrounding yourself first and foremost with negative people. Energy is contagious, both positive energy and negative energy. And it's actually a whole lot easier to go down the slippery slope of negativity than it is to climb the ladder of positivity. Even though positive vibrations are a whole lot more powerful and there's a lot more energy to those than the lower negative vibrations. But we're in a society that is so conditioned for victimhood, so conditioned to blame and complain and to lash out at others and to just really play that victim card that it's actually much easier to be negative than it is to be positive. You got to take an inventory. Are the people that you surround yourself on a daily basis dragging you down? And if they are, you need to cut ties with them. And I know that's really, really hard for people to do, but you've got to be fiercely protective of your energy and only spend time for people that build you up, that make you feel good about yourself, people who believe in you, people who believe in your dreams, even if they don't understand your dreams. They don't have to understand them. They just need to support you in what you're doing, as far as just like, well, you can do it, go for it, instead of like, well, how is that ever going to happen? Here's all the reasons why it can't. People who mock you for wanting to think in a different way, or who accuse you of abandoning them, or you used to be so much more fun to be around. Like, those are the people that you really, really need to limit your time with. You want to surround yourself with people who are only interested at vibrating at a higher frequency, at a higher level, like you are. That is critical to your success, to be able to raise your vibration. I had a client who I absolutely loved, but she was surrounded by negative people. And we get really defensive about our spouses and our children and our friends, right? My spouse is a great man. Well, yeah, I'm not assuming that you're married to a monster or you're married to a demon. That's not what this is. But if you're surrounded, if your family is mocking you for the way that you're speaking, or the things that you're talking about, or that's kind of the same thing, right? If they're mocking you for your dreams, or that you're doing things differently, or they're why are you eating that? Why aren't you eating the hamburger and fries? Like that judgmental look that they get on their face. She allowed that to really, really influence her, and didn't end up making the transformation that she really desired to make in her life, because she couldn't get over the fear of her family's judgment. And that's one of the things that it's really, really important to do. Now, I am a big proponent in marriage, and I'm a very, very big supporter in marriage. And so I'm not one to lightly say, just leave your spouse. Certainly not. Unless you're in an abusive situation, then absolutely leave your spouse. But for the most part, when they don't understand how to think differently, they're going to give you some pushback. And so it's up to you to let go of their judgment, and let that is theirs, and let yours be yours, meaning let your dreams be yours, and lead out regardless of what they say. And also have boundaries. This is where boundaries come in. Really, they play a really, really big part in this, and they're uncomfortable to set if you haven't set them before. But one thing to avoid is surrounding yourself with negative people. All right, number 2, complaining. Oh my goodness. Complaining. Now, I have to raise my hand to this one, quite honestly, because there are times when I'm like, can I just vent? Well, that's just we're going to say in quotes, a high vibing word for complaining is what venting is. And if the thoughts that you're thinking are more often than not pessimistic, you're going to find more and more things to be grumpy about. You're going to find more and more things that are wrong in the world, more and more things to complain about. So rather than focusing on lack, or focusing on what's wrong with the world, focus on gratitude, focus on the things that bring you joy, and keep your mouth shut when you want to complain. And that is so hard to do. It's so hard to do. So if you can't just cut off the complaining, set yourself a timer for like 5 to 10 minutes. And when that timer goes off, boom, you're done. You're done complaining. But wean yourself off of that, because I think complaining is an addiction, just like pretty much everything else is an addiction in this life. Complaining, feeling like a victim, playing a victim, drama. We're all addicted to drama. We're addicted to strategies and tactics, and we've just got all of these addictions. And then we've got the real insidious, heinous ones as well that are easier to see. But if you have an addiction to complaining, that energy affects every area of your life. I remember reading a Wayne Dyer statement. It wasn't quite so long ago. And for the life of me, I can't remember whether it was an article or whether it was in a book. Otherwise, I'd give credit. But I do know it was Wayne Dyer. And he was talking about how easily we let outside circumstances influence our moods. And so we started listing all the different things that influence our moods. And then he said, the weather. And I was like, oh my goodness. He's absolutely right. I let the weather determine whether I'm going to have a good day or not, and whether I'm in a good mood or not. If you're brand new to the Prosperity Approach podcast, Auntie Allyson does not like the cold so much, at all. Doesn't like snow. And I live at the base of the Rocky Mountains in Salt Lake City. So that's a problem for 7 months out of the year, it's colder than I want it to be. And I used to just complain, and I'd be irritated by winter time. And I was like, holy cow, when I heard that just cut me to my core in a really, really great way. And that's one thing that I've stopped complaining about, is the weather, or letting it influence whether I'm going to be happy or grumpy that day. So that's, wean yourself off. I'm weaning myself off of the complaining about the weather in that way. All right, number 3, saying negative things about yourself. Your self-talk is so important. And so since we're talking about 5 things to avoid that negative self-talk. If you're judgmental of your body, if you're judgmental of who you are without a doubt lowering your vibration. If you talk about what an idiot you are, or leave it to me to forget that. I mean, it's very interesting. Start listening to how you talk to yourself and about yourself. And I was really, really surprised at how negative my self-talk was most of the time. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And so my negative, I've got a really well-defined inner critic in me. And I think most women do. And especially really high achieving women, professional women that are high up in their organization are generally perfectionists. And so we're really, really good at the negative self-talk, even as we present ourselves as being confident and capable and like all of those things. But in the meantime, we've got this inner critic that just is vicious. And even if you're not a perfectionist, you've got an inner critic as well. Everybody has an inner critic, but women in particular have a very, very highly developed sense of criticism for themselves. And so your negative self-talk lowers your vibration. Control your internal environment. Create a very nurturing, warm, accepting, loving, appreciative inner environment for you. And then your outer environment will change as well. Now, this is not easy to do. I've never met one woman who doesn't have at least one body part that she's critical of. And so if you can't go into full self-love for every part of your body, go into appreciation that maybe that part of your body at least works for you, or it's well placed, or it's got good proportion or whatever. I remember when I was 50 pounds overweight, and oh man, you want to talk self-loathing and self-hatred. I just smothered myself in that all day long. And when I started to show more love for myself, I couldn't be like, oh my goodness, thighs, I love you. But I could appreciate that my legs worked, and I could appreciate the shape of my thighs because they're very feminine. They're not sticks. I got curves all over my body, and my legs are no exception. And even though I didn't like the size of my quads and my thighs, I really could appreciate the shape because I really felt like a woman when I would get out of that negative self-talk. So start where you're at and just start appreciating. Find things about yourself that you can at least appreciate if you can't love or accept or express gratitude for. Start where you're at. It's okay. And 4th thing to avoid: television, social media, especially the news. Wow, we have such an addiction to that. Now, before you send me nasty emails about this, I want to be clear. There is a time and a place for life-enriching TV. There's also a time and a place for trash TV. If we don't watch drama in our life, we'll create drama in our life. I have a very dear friend, Laurel Houston, who subscribes by that little saying. If we don't watch it, then we're going to create it. And I've found that to kind of be the case. But trash TV every single day, social media that just digs at your self-esteem, not a good idea. So limit yourself, go on a fast from it, and find things that are going to enhance and enrich your life rather than fill you with complaining and feeling powerless and feeling constricted and filled with fear and rage and all of the things. Because I was talking with somebody, I can't remember who it was, but he said, the news is not here to inform, the news is here to provoke. And I was like, oh my goodness, it was a podcast guest that I had on the Prosperity Approach. The news isn't here to inform, the news is here to provoke. Is that not the truth? Holy cow. And for years and years and years, I didn't watch TV. I certainly didn't watch the news. And then COVID kind of changed that for me, and I got addicted to it. I'll admit I got addicted to it. But back when I was not watching the news at all, I just trusted that if there was something that I needed to hear, then somebody would tell me about it. And that was the case all the time. So people will be like, I have to be informed in politics and economics and la, 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 la. Yeah, okay. But just trust that whatever news you need to learn or you need to know about, somebody will bring it to you. You don't have to go finding it. And number 5, not moving your body enough. So you need to avoid being sedentary so much. If you're stuck at a desk all day, if you're not moving, if you just work through your lunch, this is actually going to lower your vibration. If you don't take movement breaks, if you don't get up and walk, if you've got still stagnant body, you'll have a still stagnant energy. So you need to get up and move. People have been saying that sitting is the new smoking. I don't agree with that at all. I'm not going to get lung cancer or throat cancer by sitting. But I also understand, like, with the amount of sitting we do all day, it's not healthy for us either. Our bodies are meant to move. They want to stretch. They want to, our heart is a muscle. Our heart wants to grow. It wants to be fit. All of those things. Our body wants more oxygen. If we're just sitting at our desk all day long and all night long, sitting in front of the TV, where our energy isn't moving, and it's going to make us feel restless. It's going to make us feel depressed. It's going to lower our vibration. So start getting movement breaks throughout your day. I actually started going to the gym twice a day and just walking, not doing two big, huge, heavy workouts, but just getting that movement in. I just found out there are actually treadmills called under the desk treadmills. And they're just like, 4 feet long, 2 feet wide. They only go like up to like 5 miles an hour, but you don't have to have like the big, huge treadmill with the handlebars and all of that. It'll fit right under your desk. You can pull it out and then you can be walking during calls or whatever. Now, I work from home. And so what I have done at the end of each hour or between calls is I'll walk around my house. But I'm like, dang, I really like the idea of an under the desk treadmill. It's very quiet. The reviews that I've read on them, you can still be on calls because the motor's really, really quiet, but find ways to move. Schedule dance breaks in throughout your day, 2-minute breaks to start, like, get the blood pumping, get the blood moving, get your body moving so the energy can move as well. It's going to give you a second wind. It's going to give you a burst of energy, and it is going to raise your vibration. There are your 5 things to avoid if you want to raise your vibration. And if you really want to start cleaning up your energy and living in feminine, tapping into masculine, and knowing practical ways to continue raising your vibration, come join me at my free online masterclass. It's called Success the Feminine Way. You can register for it at prosperityapproach.com/feminine masterclass. Totally free. And we're going to go through different ways that you can manage your energy better, feminine power tools that most of the time you gloss over or completely dismiss. I mean, it's a really, really powerful class. So if you feel pulled to that, come join us at prosperityapproach.com/feminine masterclass. And until next time, remember, prosperity becomes you. Bye-bye.